Everyone deserves to work, grow, and dream in an environment that acknowledges their worth and rewards their resilience. For people with disabilities, finding meaningful work is often challenging, but possible. On this episode of Underestimated, presented by Oatley Vigmond Personal Injury Lawyers and brought to you by Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, we're discussing accessible work. Igor Momot welcomes us into his home in downtown Toronto, where since his spinal cord injury, he's been able to thrive in a work-from-home environment. Nancy heads to Canada's Wonderland to meet Nadine, who navigates her employment with the support of her employer. And Lisa Livingston from March of Dimes Canada joins me in studio to talk about their Skilling Up program.
So I'm a CPA by trade. I spent better part of my career working in public accounting, and then in COVID branched off into industry. Did industry for about 3 years in accounting and finance, and then recently ventured off on my own. So since September, I have my own consulting practice now, and I consult sort of freelance for clients across Canada and the US. I actually started spending a little bit more time from home even before we went into lockdown. Depends on the employer. I actually, when I had my accident about 15 years ago, the company that I was working for at that time, they were super accommodating. It was a big accounting firm called BDO. And BDO actually allowed me to work from home even before COVID was even a thing. And so I had a designated space in my home. I worked, and actually with public accounting, it's even easier because you're on a billable time model. So you track every 6 minutes of your time. It's actually quite nice because the firm, they know exactly how you're spending your day because you're billing your time accordingly. So if you do the work and you're billing the client for it, then you're putting in the minutes that are spent working on the account.
Why did it work so well? What kind of benefits did you see?
The commute. So I lived in Toronto and my office was in Markham. So it was tough, especially like the software and the evolution of how we operate. A lot of it is, computer-based work, right? It's like public accounting is predominantly on a computer. We're not sort of looking at manual invoices the way we used to. There's certain aspects that are still sort of requiring that, but most of the time, a lot of the work that you get today is digital. So in a digital environment, it's, you can work from anywhere, and as long as the time is being tracked, I think, when people trust that you will do the work, I don't think anyone has a big problem with it. I miss the team environment sometimes, especially, it's one thing when you have the option to come in, and so and you choose to sort of work from home, and that's fine. But there's times where you want to come in and you can't, and so that part is definitely challenging. There are times where, in fact, like you wanted to be in the room with the team, and so I would actually host the working sessions here, and I do that with my clients now. If we need to, we set up. I have all the rooms set up with a connector, so I can pair the monitors to the TVs, and we use the living room as a working room. So brainstorming sessions, anything major that we need to, presentations.
Right on. You sound like a really busy person in a really fast-moving industry.
Yeah.
So I understand you've had a very complex pressure sore, and I want to ask, how do you manage that within the industry that you're in?
I had the sore while I was working for a company out in Vaughan. The sore was pretty advanced. Took about 2.5 years to get through the whole process from beginning to end. Luckily, my employer was really accommodating, so I was working from home, and at that time, pretty much exclusively from my bed. Even when I was in the hospital, it would still, sort of have the tray set up there and work from the tray there. The employer didn't push me to so no one forced me to work, but it was, a good way to take my mind off of what was going on and to keep me distracted and focused on getting better. The wound it was on the right side, so I kind of had to stay a little bit tilted. But otherwise, as long as I was, flat as much as possible, it was fine.
So how do you organize scheduling and with your healthcare professionals and all these things?
Yeah, so at the time that I had the wound, it was it was kind of interesting because we were in the midst of a pretty serious system implementation, and so there were days where the nurses couldn't really accommodate the time, and I had meetings that couldn't be moved, and so I had to be a part of them. So literally, I would sit there like off camera, in the shower, like in the tub, doing my calls just so as a fly on the wall, listening in.
Right. What about supports? What kind of support helps you best through your coworkers and?
Yeah, I find my coworkers, you'd be like, I think when you tell them what's going on with you and you're like, hey, there's a hole in my body and it needs to regrow all this flesh, and people are genuinely sort of concerned for your health. And especially when you show that you are trying and you're still working through it, people care. So I've been very fortunate. All my employers and my staff, my teams, they've been very supportive through all of my experiences. So it's a lot of compassion, a lot of understanding from the people that I work with, and they accommodate quite a bit. Again, I'm pretty fortunate to have good teams. I find if you have a routine and you have a set schedule and the nurses are communicating with you, it does help. And you can, set your schedule. I live by my calendar, and so it does take a lot of this thinking, out of the equation when you know exactly when things are going to happen.
Are there any other resources or assistive devices perhaps that help you, like a specific table or something like that?
I have an air cushion, so if sitting in my chair is too much, I do transfer to an office chair. It's got more back support, and there's an air cushion component in there that allows me to essentially adapt that chair. Other than that, in bed I have a roll, like a foam roll, and it kind of just puts me on my side. But that's pretty much it. The wound is significantly better now than it was the first time around. I also have the team already established from the first time around, and so there's been a lot of progress on this one. And so I'm managing it very differently than spending a lot more time, at my desk, still going out, still driving, but just like regular appointments, watching the progression, nothing's really changed. I'm still working from bed, I'm doing a balance, but I am, I'm upright right now. So, but it's, you can't do it all day. So normally I'm in my chair, 14 hours a day, no problem. I'm at my desk for hours and hours, and that's no problem. Now can't really do that. I find you get one life. It's one experience, and so if you're gonna lay around and feel sorry for yourself, then you're gonna miss out on the one experience that you have. So you kind of can. There's bad days. Don't get me wrong. There's days where you're not feeling great, and nothing's going the way it should, and then you surround yourself with people who really don't care about the embarrassing things that happen, and they do. And especially anyone who's in a chair knows, I've had bad milk before, and I've gone to work, and that wasn't fun. But you kind of move on, and the next day is better. And I'm very fortunate to have good people in my life, my family, my friends. Everyone supports me, and so I find for me personally, if people are willing to put up with me, I'm willing to go and do the stuff. So that's really the sort of my outlook on it. It's, if you're willing to put yourself out there, people want you there, and they're willing to accommodate. And so you can't sit around and mope, because otherwise you're gonna let all these experiences pass you by.
Oatley Vigman Personal Injury Lawyers are proud sponsors of Underestimated. If you need a personal injury lawyer, we can help. For more information, please visit oatleyvigman.com.
We're here at Canada's Wonderland today. Did you know that Canada's Wonderland hires over 4,000 seasonal employees every year? And one of them is Nadine, and we caught up with her today.
My name is Nadine Anderson. I'm 40 years old and I'm deafblind, and I live at the Canadian Helen Keller Centre. So I've been working here at Park Services for 4 years. I just clean the floors. If anybody's asking me where to go to the bathroom or anything, I'm able to give directions and help them with whatever they need. So how I found this job was through a friend. I was just looking for a job, and some interveners were suggesting, Wonderland, and I liked that everyone was wearing a uniform and everything. So I was just asking people around where I could find a job. Yeah, then I just was able to join through my friend Richard. He was really supportive towards me, and he helped me find this job.
So I've worked here at Canada's Wonderland within the HR division for the last 15 years. And annually we hire 4,000 seasonal associates. So when you're doing recruitment at that volume, you're going to meet a lot of different associates that have various backgrounds and various needs. So my experience with providing an inclusive work environment is very versatile, and there's lots of different things that you have to consider. We see associates that need several different types of accommodations, whether it's flexible work scheduling, providing training materials, establishing relationships with job coaches and support persons. And it's really about being that support towards the associate and working with the department to really provide what that associate needs. So Nadine is one of our associates in the operations division. She works as a Park Services associate, and she's been here for the last 5 seasons. Her job as a Park Services associate is mainly to keep her area clean. And so that includes sweeping and just ensuring that it's a clean environment for our guests and a safe environment. And Nadine has really done a great job with establishing connections with her supervision team. So we work very closely with Nadine, her supervisors, and her job coach to ensure that she's successful in her role. I think what's really important when you're looking to eliminate barriers within the workplace is to really listen and get to know the needs of the individual that you're hiring. Everyone deserves an inclusive work environment. So there's several things that employers can do to ensure an inclusive work environment. Things like providing flexible work schedules, job accommodations, really welcoming the job coaches and the support persons if there's one that's required. Flexible scheduling is also extremely important, but really just taking time to understand what that individual needs and working with the department to ensure that you put those resources in place for them.
Well, I've been working here for many years. I find it very chill here. The park services are very nice. It's very easy to communicate. The managers and supervisors are very clear in what they ask me about my responsibilities, and I just do what I'm told. And and there's some things that I also learn, like new things about Canada's Wonderland, new rules and regulations, and I just take that into my job and I work from there. So usually they'll email me the schedule every week, and they always ask me like, okay, so if you need to talk to your supervisor or your manager, here's the number. And so we're able to text back and forth, and so that's a great accommodation that I have.
Canada's Wonderland is a fun environment. It's extremely diverse. We welcome individuals from all different backgrounds and experiences, and we really do take pride in our diversity here at the park. We provide a lot of learning opportunities and a lot of opportunities for advancement. And because of how large our workforce is, it's a great place to make friends and create long-lasting connections.
Some deafblind people don't even know how to even get a job, and so usually I'll be like, oh, okay, here's a website you can apply to. There are these organizations you can contact, just because with my experience, it's just I'm able to help others who are looking for a job where to go.
So you can visit our jobs page at canadaswonderland.com/jobs. And you're also able to call in to our recruitment office to learn more about our job opportunities. And we are open every day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can call in and speak to someone, or you can visit our website.
I mean, I really enjoy it. Honestly, I just like the simple duties like cleaning out garbage and just smiling at people, making sure that everyone's enjoying their day. That's what makes my day.
Vigman Personal Injury Lawyers are proud sponsors of Underestimated. If you need a personal injury lawyer, we can help. For more information, please visit oatleywigman.com.
Lisa Livingston is an employment services manager with March of Dimes Canada. She joins me today to talk about Skilling Up, a free online program providing digital skills training for Canadians living with a disability. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So to start, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role at March of Dimes?
Sure. I'm a manager in the Skills Development and Employment Department with March of Dimes. I've been there for almost 20 years, and during the 20 years I've worked in different projects, different programs, contracts, etc. in employment services. And most recently, I've been managing both at a provincial and national level programs where we're connecting businesses with people who have a disability for the purposes of employment and mentorship. And as we're here to talk about today, Skilling Up is one of my biggest projects currently, and it's a collaboration we have with Microsoft and CIBC.
Great. So what is Skilling Up?
Skilling Up is a digital skilling program. The purpose is to bring digital skills to people who have a disability, who live in Canada, and to give them that opportunity to upskill and reskill so that they can be qualified for tech and tech-enabled roles. One of the really cool things about the program is, in addition to this skilling, they have the option to connect with mentors who are working in a field of interest to them, and also have access to job development support.
That's great.
Yeah.
What kinds of programs can people take on Skilling Up?
So we call them pathways,
Okay.
and they can take a look through and decide where they need to start, so it's at their needs. And they can start really basic. We call it digital literacy and productivity, the really entry-level program. And then they can progress through to the intermediate certificate program, so office administration, sort of business analyst certificates. And then they can work into our advanced, which are actual Microsoft certifications. In addition to the technical focus, they can also take advantage of some complementary programs, so things like professional soft skills that everybody can use, and entrepreneurial programs somebody might be interested in. And then in addition to that, there's also some job development courses to help them along the way.
How did you decide which programs to offer on Skilling Up?
It was in conversations with Microsoft. So Skilling Up is actually part of a global program, a bigger program, Microsoft's Global Skills for Jobs. And they did a lot of research and looking into which skills, particularly that businesses are having difficulty getting in their employees. So they sort of did some of the groundwork for us and narrowed it down and gave us a list to choose from so that we could be providing skills that are in demand to employers.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And why now? Why did you create or launch Skilling Up just in the last couple of years?
Well, obviously the world is very tech focused and we're continuing to focus on tech and digital work and life. As you know, one of the problems we have is that there's about 8 million Canadians in Canada who have a disability, and about 40% of those who are unemployed have the ability to work. One of the other problems we have is that businesses, as I said, can't find employees with those tech skills that they need, and they need people coming in quickly and who can upskill quickly. So there's a big skills gap, and there's a gap for people who have disabilities who want to work. So in October of 2022, we launched Skilling Up to try to address that skills gap and bring free, relevant, and professional level recognized training and certifications to people with disabilities so that we can help them be more employable and help businesses get the employees they need.
Great. So for someone who wants to sign up, what's the process?
So if you go to our website, there's sections on the website for people to find out about which particular programs or pathways we offer. There's areas they can go to sign up for an informational session. So we offer informational sessions so people can learn more. If they've researched it and they know about it and they want to go right in, then they can sign up and get learning as quickly. And then there's also places there for organizations, employment agencies, to learn more about it, as well as businesses. So if businesses are interested in becoming mentors, they can also connect with us through that website.
Oh, great. So for the mentorship opportunities, what sectors are you looking for, or what do you already have?
Yeah, so the program is tech focused.
Okay.
However, as you know, pretty much any job now requires tech and digital skills. So if a company is interested in participating, chances are they'll have a role that we can connect with and connect a learner with. We've got people from Canada Revenue Agency, Canada Space Agency, PeopleSoft, Microsoft, obviously.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
some big names.
Yeah, and a lot of different positions. As I said, it's really about having those conversations with people, and everybody has something that they can give and share that people can learn from.
That's great. So what are the biggest barriers you see when it comes to accessible work, especially as it relates to tech?
Access. Tech is not cheap. Right, so access on different levels. First and foremost is getting access to the devices and the technology, and so whether that's hardware, I mean, you're looking at $1,200 to buy a phone or a laptop, etc. And families who have family members with disabilities are often struggling already to meet just with the basic needs. So to be able to go out and purchase the technology for learning, for working, etc., can be very challenging. In some cases, it's not an option. The other thing is just getting access to the software to make their tech accessible, right? There's tech can be made accessible, but again, there can be costs to that. The other part of access is access to education. Traditional education is very expensive, which is one of the nice benefits about the Skilling Up, is because we're taking material and skills and knowledge that's been created by professionals. It's definitely not something I'm creating, but creating by professionals. It's Microsoft certifications, it's industry recognized, so it's free. So that makes, reduces a bit of the access problem there. The other thing too is internet. You veer too far off a 400 series highway, and internet can be very spotty.
Yeah.
So that's also a challenge for people, is being able to access things on the internet for learning, for working, etc.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Lisa, for coming in today to tell us
you're
more
welcome.
about this great opportunity for people in Canada.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching this episode of Underestimated, presented by Oatly Vigmond Personal Injury Lawyers and brought to you by Spinal Cord Injury Ontario. Thank you to our guests for sharing their experiences and expertise. To learn more about disability employment and to watch our videos on job customization, job carving, and interview tips, visit coretree.com. I'm Tori Bowman. Thanks for watching.